Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be sharing with you another crochet creation, and this time we are shifting into Christmas and winter season. Therefore I will be teaching you how you can make this super cute and beautiful crochet snowflake. This project, it's quite simple, although it looks a little bit more difficult than normally, but otherwise the stitches are quite repetitive, and besides that I have also made sure that I'm going into as much detail as I can with all the stitches and all the steps and everything to make sure that everyone is able to replicate this. And I really hope that you will have fun with this project and that it will help you with decorating your house for Christmas or getting into more like celebration and winter vibes. So I definitely hope that it will be useful, and most importantly, let's have fun with this project. So now without further ado, let's jump into it. Here are all the materials that I will be using for this project. Here I have some cotton yarn, which is 4-ply and in white color, so it matches with the snowflake look. You will of course also need a crochet hook. For this project I'm using 3.5mm hook, and you will also need some scissors. And here's the final snowflake, so this is what you will be able to create by the end of this video. And if we want to measure it, it is approximately 10 centimeters in size, so that's just something to keep in mind in case if you want to use different materials or if you wish to use the same. But now let's get started. And our first step is to create a magic ring. So for that I'm just grabbing yarn and then tying it around my fingers like this to create an X shape here, like that. Then I'm taking my crochet hook and going underneath the first piece of yarn that I have here, turning my hook and grabbing the second piece and pulling it through to establish a loop on the hook. So now we have basically created magic ring, and we also have this starting point. And then our next step is to chain 2. So for that you're just yarning over, then grabbing yarn and pulling it through the loop like this. So this counts as one chain, and then you're doing the same to create the second chain like this. So now we have a magic ring as well as chain of 2. And then our next step is to do one double crochet, and in this case this chain of 2 and double crochet is going to count as 1-2 double crochet clusters. So that's just something to keep in mind. So for double crochet you have to yarn over, then go through the magic ring, grab yarn and pull it up to have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over again and pull through remaining 2 like this. So this piece that we have just created, it counts as one double crochet cluster with 2 double crochet stitches inside. And these clusters that we will be doing, that's something to also keep in mind as a stitch for throughout the project, because that's basically kind of like one of the main stitches that we will be using. And then after this our next step is to chain 2, so 1 and 2 like this, and then we can work in another double crochet cluster which will consist of 2 double crochets. So for that you have to yarn over, then go through the magic ring, grab yarn and pull it up to have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over and only pull through the first 2 loops like this. So this is half of this cluster that we are creating, and now we have kind of done like one unfinished double crochet. And after that, to finalize our cluster, we have to work on another double crochet. We are just yarning over, going again through the magic ring, grabbing yarn and pulling it up, and in this case we now have 4 loops on our hook, and then we are just yarning over and pulling through the first 2 loops that we have here. So now we have 2 unfinished double crochets, and in total we have 3 loops on our hook. And then once we have this, we can finalize this 2 double crochet cluster that we have here. And for that we are just yarning over and going through all 3 loops that we had on our hook like this. So this is our second cluster, and this is how it looks. After we have done that, we just have to chain 2 again, 1 and 2, And then we can do another cluster inside this magic ring. But before we do that, it's very important to note that all the stitches that we are doing, all of them have to cover both of these pieces of yarn that we have here. So if you're noticing that you're running short of this one, then basically just pull it and you will get more of it, and you will be able to cover both pieces of yarn with all the stitches that you are doing. But now let's do another cluster together. So again, we are starting to work on double crochet and only completing it halfway through like this. Then we are doing another double crochet and also completing it halfway through like that. So now we have 2 unfinished double crochet stitches basically and 3 loops on our hook, and we can finalize this cluster by just yarning over and going through all 3 loops that we had on our hook like that. So now we have 3 clusters in total. After we have done that, we just chain 2 and we can proceed with the next cluster that's on our list. And in total you will have to create 8 of these clusters, and once you have done the final one, then I will basically just meet you back again. So for now, just proceed with doing these 2 double crochet clusters and make sure that you're making 8 of them in total, and after each of them just chain 2. But otherwise I will meet you once I have created all of these. So here I have done all 8 clusters, and after the last one again we just have to chain 2, so 1 and 2 like this. And now you can see we have filled this magic circle that we created here, and now we can actually close it. So for closing that, you just have to pull this loose piece of yarn that we have here, and as you're pulling it you can see that the ring is closing and we are establishing a nice and smooth round shape. And now we are also officially done with this first round, so we can connect this round by doing a slip stitch, and we will be doing that here inside the very first cluster that we created. And to do a slip stitch, you basically just have to go through this cluster here and then grab yarn and pull it through, and then pull it through the loop that you had on your hook initially like this. So now we have completed this slip stitch, and we have also connected this first round. So now we can start working on the second round, and to do that we first have to do another slip stitch here inside this chain 2 space that we have here. So for that, again, I'm just going through this space, grabbing yarn, pulling it through, and then pulling it through the loop that I already had on my hook. So now we have a starting point, and then our next step is to chain 2, so 1 and 2. Again, this is going to count as half of the cluster that we had in the beginning of the previous round. So the next step again is to do 1 double crochet like this. So I'm completing this stitch, and we have technically also created 1 double crochet cluster that we have here. And then after that, our next step is to chain 2 again, so 1 and 2. And once that's done, we are adding another 2 double crochet cluster inside this same space together with the stitches that we just did. So again, I'm just doing 1 unfinished double crochet, then adding another one inside the same space like this, and then yarning over and going through all the loops that I had on my hook like that. And after this, we can proceed with the next space that we have here. And right away, we are starting with adding 2 double crochet cluster in this space here, like this. So this is 1, 2 double crochet cluster. After that, we are chaining 2 again, 1 and 2. And then we are adding another 2 double crochet cluster inside the very same space. So quite similar step to the previous round, and this is basically what we have to add in all of these chain 2 spaces from the first round. So let's do another one together. So we are adding 1 double crochet cluster with 2 double crochet stitches inside here like this. After that, we are chaining 2 and then adding another cluster that consists of 2 double crochet stitches in here like that. So this is what we are adding in every single space that we have here, and in total you should have 8 of these. So this is 1, 2 and 3, so it's just remaining for you to do another 5 in total in these remaining spaces. So just continue doing this, and then I will again meet you back once we are finalizing this round and connecting it. So now we are done with all the stitches and clusters for the second round, and it's basically done, but it's just left for us to connect it. So for connecting this round together, we are again going to do a slip stitch, and we will do that here inside the very first cluster. So you just have to go through this cluster, grab yarn and pull it through, and then pull it through the loop that you already had. So now the second round is finalized, and we can proceed with the third round. So again, for the third round, before we can start, we actually have to do another slip stitch here inside this chain 2 space that we already had. So we are going through there and adding another slip stitch in there like this. Once that's done, we can officially proceed with starting the third round, and first our step is to chain 2, 1 and 2, and again the process is similar as we had before. Since we have to start this round from scratch, we are kind of creating this chain 2 and then adding a complete double crochet, which then in total counts as 2 double crochet cluster. And then once that's done, we are chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then after that we are adding another 2 double crochet cluster inside this very same space. So again, quite similar steps to what we have done already before. So here I'm just adding 2 unfinished double crochets and then making it into a cluster by going through all the loops that I had on my hook like this. So these are the stitches that we have to add inside this space here, and once that's done, we are chaining 2, 1 and 2. So this is basically the only difference that we are adding in comparison to the previous round, as well as here in between these clusters we have 3 chains instead of 2. So let's do another part together. So first we are adding 2 double crochet cluster inside here like this. Once that's done, we are chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then we are adding another cluster which consists of 2 double crochets like that, and I'm completing it. And once that's done, we are just chaining 2, 1 and 2, and then we are able to proceed with the next space, where again we are doing the same thing. So here I have already started and I have added 1 cluster, then I'm just chaining 3 and adding another cluster inside this same space that we have here, and then again chaining 2 after that. So this is how it looks so far. I have completed 3 of these spaces, and this is basically the process. You just have to go through all of these until you have 8 of these in total. So 1, 2, 3, and then just add 5 more in the remaining spaces that we have here. So I will just proceed with doing that, and so should you, and then I will just meet you once this round is again completed and we can proceed with the following steps. So see you in a bit. So here I'm done with this third round, and all that's left for me to do is just to chain 2, so 1 and 2, and our third round now is officially completed. Normally we would be connecting all of our rounds by doing a slip stitch, but in this case we will connect it right away by proceeding further with the fourth round. So let's start working on the fourth round, and our first step here is to basically do a single crochet inside this very first cluster that we have here. So for single crochet, you just have to go through this cluster here that we have, then grab yarn and pull it through to have 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through both of the loops like this. And this is single crochet. Then after that we are again proceeding further with our clusters, and now our next step is to do a 2 double crochet cluster in here. So I'm just creating 1 unfinished double crochet and then adding another one, 3 loops on the hook, and then yarning over and pulling through both of them like this. After that, once that's done, we are just chaining 1 and then adding 1 double crochet. So yarning over, going through the same space, grabbing yarn and pulling it up to have 3 loops, yarning over and pulling through both of them, yarning over and pulling through the remaining 2 like this. So this is 1 double crochet. And then after that we are chaining 3 because we will be doing a picot stitch. So for that we just have to chain 3 first. So 1, 2 and 3 like this. And then to create this picot stitch we will have to go through these 2 loops that we have here. So we are kind of going through the stitch from the up inside it and going through these 2 loops that kind of create like a V shape here. And then we are just grabbing yarn and pulling it through, and then also pulling it through the loop that we already had. So in a way we are kind of creating a slip stitch in here, but by doing that we are creating this nice little tip that we have here, which will really give quite a lot for our snowflake look. And that's called a picot stitch basically. But once that's done, we are again chaining 1 and then proceeding further with adding another 2 double crochet cluster inside this very same space that we have here. So here I have 2 unfinished double crochets, then I'm just yarning over and going through all 3 stitches like this. And this is how it looks so far. And now we are almost done. It's just left for us to do another single crochet here on top of this cluster that we have in here. So I'm just going through there and doing 1 single crochet in there like this. So now this one is completely finalized and we can proceed with the next chain of 3 space that we have here. But to get there we first have to chain 2. So 1 and 2. And now we can start working on stitches for this part. So let's do another one together. So first we are doing 1 single crochet and we are going through the first cluster here. We have 2 loops and then pulling through both of them. After that we are adding another 2 double crochet cluster inside this chain of 3 space that we have here. So here I have 2 unfinished double crochets and then going through all the loops by creating that. After that we are chaining 1 and then doing 1 complete double crochet inside this very same space here like this. And then again we just have to do our picot stitch. So for that we are chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3. And then we will do kind of like a slip stitch here by going through these 2 loops that we have here, which kind of create the V shape. Then we are just grabbing yarn and pulling it through and also pulling it through the loop that we already had like this. So it looks like this. And once that's done, we are just chaining 1 and then again doing 2 double crochet cluster inside this very same space here. So this is 1 unfinished double crochet and 2, 3 loops on the hook, and then we are just pulling through all these loops. And after that it's just left for us to do another single crochet at the end of this. So I'm just doing that, and then we have completed this part here. And we can just chain 2, 1 and 2 to move further with the next bit here with the chain of 3 that we have here. So again the process is the same. We are first doing 1 single crochet, then doing 2 unfinished double crochets and turning them into a cluster. After that just chaining 1, then doing 1 double crochet, a complete one, and then chaining 3 to create the picot stitch that is going through this double crochet that we just did. And again it's just useful to know that it's kind of like a slip stitch with multiple chains. After that we are just chaining 1 and then again doing 2 double crochet cluster in here, and once that's done, again 1 single crochet on top of the cluster from the previous round. And then we have completed this part and just chaining 2, and we can proceed with the next one here in the chain 3 space that we have here. So this is how it looks so far for me. So I have again created 3 of them, 1, 2 and 3, and then it's just left for you to fill all of these chain of 3 spaces that we have here. So basically just continue doing that, and then I will meet you back again once we are able to connect this round. So just follow the process and I will see you in a little bit. So now here I'm basically done with this round, so it's just left for me to do the final chain of 2, 1 and 2, and now we can basically connect this round. And I will be doing that in here inside this very first cluster that we have here. So I'm just going through that one and doing a slip stitch in there like this. So now this round is connected and it's actually also completed, because now we have basically created our snowflake shape. So now we can actually fasten off this white yarn that we have, and for that we just first have to chain 1 like this, then we are pulling this loop a little bit longer and grabbing our scissors in the meantime, and then we can just cut off yarn here like that and tighten this loose end that we have here, and by tightening we are creating a secure knot like this. So now we have created our snowflake shape and this is how it looks. It's super cute, so you can use this also as a Christmas decoration if you wish. So that was it from me today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and I hope that this tutorial was useful for you, and I hope that I have inspired you to create some more snowflakes to decorate your house or Christmas tree for the season. And besides that, it would also really work as a coaster for the Christmas table or Christmas dinner, so just let your imagination go wild. Otherwise, if you had any questions or anything you need help with, then feel free to reach out in the comment section below and I will try to help you from there. And besides that, there is also a written pattern that I have linked in the description box below, and at the moment I'm also working in turning this snowflake into a granny square, so that's something to look forward to. Otherwise, if you did enjoy this video, then please give me a big thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, then please subscribe and I will see you later. Bye!